All right, let's start. Let's see. I believe this is one we bought. Oh, Steam needs a launch. Steam, what are you doing? Stop downloading things. Okay, so last time in Great Ace Attorney, we established that Mr. McGilded is fucking sketchier than we thought, and he had so much of this shit planned out in advance. I have the theory that he's not dead. Like, he faked his death somehow. Just because I'm pretty sure we don't have, like, an official consensus on... Like, I don't know. I feel like anyone could have been in that burning carriage. But he's hiding inside the judge's beard, like, he peeks out and he's like, "Oh, hello! Oh!" But everyone wants that disc. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Hi, Millie. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go home and get some rest. Here you are, Gregsy. Here are the representation papers. Your ladyship. How? I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little... I'm not going to do the Columbo. I can't. That stubborn little ragabash to sign that. I salute you. That is good work, that is. I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special tea blend designed to relieve fatigue. Shots, 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 shots. Lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes, yes, I hardly feel tired at all. I'm fit as a fiddle, your ladyship. Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime, then? Do as you please. You know where it happened. Through that door behind the counter. Yes, storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windibank and Gina. Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then. You be investigating in the storm as well? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. There's so many articles to go through, it's taking forever, even with the lads working around the clock. Which is a problem, because there's another case that the yard needs to investigate urgently. And that must be what Lord Strongheart meant by more serious matters. So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, sunshine. Come then. Let us not waste any time. Alright. Let's see, we got some broken glass down here. Are you sure? There's the article ledger here, Mr. Winbank's notes, and... what's this? It looks as though someone has left a little photographic print behind. Don't we have... we have the same thing. There's some writing. Is there? Ooh, show us. Show us. Article deposited, 1 gentleman's overcoat. An amount paid, £1. Redemption deadline, 15th of April, 10:30 p.m. Clearly it was a very fine coat. In fact, I think... Yes, this must be the ticket for the overcoat that Ginny redeemed yesterday. And is still wearing, which belonged to Mr. McGilded. Would have never expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though. It seems Mr. Windibank just used whatever piece of paper you happen to have on hand. This photograph of the cat looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere recently. Yes, you're right. Very recently. It's the same as the one Ginny gave us earlier. What was on it? One small box. Okay. Let the cogs turn. Yes, they're the exact same photo. I've got it. These 2 photographs hide an amazing secret. A secret? What do you mean? You must tell us at once. Do you really, really, really want to know? Yes, we need you to tell us what you know about this pair of photographs. About these 2 photographic prints. Actually, that's not quite right. If you look carefully, 2 prints aren't the same. Not exactly. They're not? Have another look at them now. I mean, is it what's written on the back? Can you see that they're just slightly different from each other? I mean, the cat is looking a different way. Like, it's kind of looking off to the side in this one and forward on this one. There's more of a gap here than on this side. Shadow is also off, yeah. It's very subtle, though. But what's the reason for the subtle difference between them? Well, it's because they're a set, you see. A pair of photographs is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment. I can pet Iris with the cursor. Ah, stereoscope. Yes, that's what Mr. Sholmes showed us yesterday. You see? There it is, just over there. A magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch. Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of those contraptions. Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place? I'll be able to tell you. She's over the moon. Bless her. Should we let her explain, though? I really need to carry on investigating the scene. I, for one, simply have to know. Have you ever considered, Bruno, how our eyes see depth in the world around us? Well, I just open them, and it works. But the reason it works is because we have 2 eyes. Shocking. If you try just closing one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away. What you see with your left eye, and what you see with the right eye, are ever so slightly different. Get a different view with each eye. The position of objects seems to shift slightly. Exactly. And in your head, your brain uses that shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one. That's how we sense depth in everything we see. My brain really is amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me. I think I see. So the pair of photographs consist of a left eye view and a right eye view. If you can persuade your brain to merge the two image pictures together in your head, you'd be able to see depth in these prints. Yes, you're beginning to understand. The stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to do just that. Yes, but as long as you have two images, two eyes, and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all. You can? Yeah, you missed it, but last time when we were, well, the first time we were investigating the pawnbrokery, there was a 3DS effect that was supposed to be in here that doesn't translate quite well. Let's try it. See if you can view this pair of prints without the help of a stereoscope. I'm dying to have a go. Susanoo-san really loves this kind of thing. You need to be able to cross your eyes. That's the main thing. Can you both do that? Okay. Watch me. See if you can copy. That's kind of uncanny. I don't know why, but the subtle eye movement is just kind of killing me. Now it's your turn. The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time. Not exactly an easy task when two people are staring at you cross-eyed. Alright. Start by staring at one print and slowly crossing your eyes. Try it now. Okay, good. Oh, I'm having the worst time with it. Did the print split into two images for you? Now the next step is to put the pair of prints side by side like this, and then try crossing your eyes again. I was I was doing it myself, and I'm like, holy shit, it's working. It's moving before my very eyes. It's the game animating. Oh, yes! Mr. Naruhodo, it works! I can see it in the middle now. It looks so real. Oh, I could look at it all day. I wouldn't advise that. Your eyes might start to hurt. Your turn, Runo. Pretend you're looking through the two pictures and slowly cross your eyes. Keep adjusting the position of your eyes until the two images overlap exactly in the middle. Okay. Okay, I could kind of get it. So now you know how stereoscopic images work. I don't know who discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary. So what do you think of these stereoscopic prints, then? They're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get the knack of viewing them properly. No, some people find it easier than others. That's why contraptions like this exist, people who find it tricky. Oh, I recognize that. We saw one over there yesterday, didn't we? If I remember correctly, you press this little knob here. And a set of photographs, set the pair of photographs in the stand at the back, and... It's still amazing, even though I roughly know how it works now. Well, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these folding contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently. But if these little machines are so affordable, surely there's no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures like you hate them. But it's much more satisfying to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so in any case. Certainly learned a lot about them. I wonder if it's knowledge that I'll ever actually need. No. This ticket that Gina brought in here yesterday, having been thrusted by Mr. McGilda 2 months earlier. Is that blood? Okay, so that doesn't update anything. Look here. A bullet hole. And I can see the bullet is still lodged in the wall. Presumably Mr. Windibank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time. Well, Mr. Sholmes likes to practice in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic like that. I'm sorry. It's all there in the Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, you know. Isn't that right? Should I write something like that? Partly in jest, perhaps. Well, he doesn't do it often. It's quite a dangerous pastime. He doesn't do it often. He shouldn't even do it once. Forget that now. Let's examine this bullet. What's the date today in game? Today would be the 16th, so this was done just after midnight, because he always takes down his calendar at midnight. Suspicious red stain on the calendar. I may well be able to help with that. It's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, is there? I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you. I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. There you have it, you see. When it comes to blood, we're all different types. Yes, what a scientific observation. So you need this. A gun. Hurley and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet. But as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does. This kills you. Oh no, it's been censored. The color of the bloodstain has changed. Does it make sense now? Yes, I think I'm starting to understand. Good. It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see. How wonderful. The chemical of fires combines with the blood and makes it change color. So you can identify whose blood it is that you're looking for in a flash. What a fabulous invention. Isn't it? Isn't it? I bet Ginny would say it's bleeding great. So, whose blood are we looking at then? Well, all the chemical does is turn the blood a different color, so... Just find someone whose blood turns the same color and you'll know who it belongs to. In a flash. It's more like 2 flashes, really, isn't it? 1 flash or 2 could turn out to be a very valuable clue. So must make note of it in the court record. Sample of blood analyzed with the device. Okay, so this is going to be... As long as I have reagent left, sure. Actually, there's a stain on the back of that one photograph, isn't there? I think perhaps you should see if that can tell us anything. So is this just like... Oh, that's cool. So it's a full-on portfolio. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling here. I wondered if Susada-san picked up on that. Well, in that case, we need Iris. I should show this to her before we forget. Okay, now it's there. Bruno the Ripper? That looks like blood! It's made from a gloved finger. Almost certainly a glove made of leather. Well, don't worry. You can leave the rest to me. Man, I hope my blood is a cool color. That's a color we haven't seen before, isn't it? Simply added to the portfolio blood samples could be an important clue. Although, it'd be nice to find out whose blood these different colors correspond to at some point. Well, this particular stain of blood... Oh, you had an idea, didn't you? Do you know whose blood this is? Okay, so this... So this was the ticket that Gina had. So it depends on... That might be Windibank's blood. I'm gonna look like an idiot. Real quick. Can we see if she wears gloves? Wait, his name really is Pop Wind? Is this guy's name just a fart joke? But I'm thinking this belongs to Thrice Fired Mason, because Gina had his blood all over her hands when she got the ticket. Like, she was told to turn this in, got the ticket, and probably still had the blood on her hand. You don't sound very sure of yourself the way you trailed off there. Oh, it's 2 months ago now, that case. And of course, I'd never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. He's definitely thrice fired, though. The victim of the omnibus case? His name was indeed Mr. Thrice Fired Mason. But that would mean that this bloodstain was left on the ticket 2 months ago. Yes, I think it was. Gina brought this ticket here to Windibanks yesterday. I'm suggesting that the bloodstain was already on it at that time. So it's a smear of blood from the time Mr. Mason was killed about 2 months ago. Something else is coming back to me now. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night. What good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to a help if a fella bleeding from his stomach? Wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. Certainly does look like a leather glove thumbprint. And that would be the right hand thumbprint. Mr. McGilded had no injuries at the time anywhere on his body, from which we can conclude that any blood on the glove belonged to the victim. You sound just like Mr. Sholmes. Don't insult me. Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope. I think you're right, Bruno. Let's make a note of this. Details of the pawnbroker. Okay. I doubt we're gonna find any more of his blood around here, but, you know. It's a music box. Do you have them where you come from? Yes, but I've never seen as large as this in Japan. This will be a treat. Shall we have a listen? What do you think? Isn't it a pretty sound? It's a beautiful sound, yes, but it's a little hard to enjoy when all the policemen in the room are giving you fierce looks. Never mind that. If any of them say anything, I'll tell Gregsy to have a word. Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything else really around here that's changed. That ledger that's open on the counter there really is enormous. It's been an awful lot of work to keep track of all these hundreds of items. It's too much to think about. Better to sell it and have a clear head, if you ask me. Okay, so I'm going to assume that this lamp is just irrelevant. Alright, let's go to the back room. That's what Gregsy said. Yes, and that's where I saw that dreadful scene last night. Through the little window in the door. Mr. Windibank face down on the floor, with Gina beside him. As the accused legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene. You must make a thorough investigation. It's a real scene of the crime. Don't worry. If there are clues in there, I'll find them. I do enjoy my two sidekicks. You okay, girl? She's clammed up completely. Chris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Windibank's life was taken in this very room only last night. Ah! Wait, Inspector. What is it now, Sunshine? You took one look at me and tried to run away. You think a Scotland Yard inspector would run away from some jumped-up little defense lawyer, do ya? Well... I've never seen her ladyship looking like that before, is the thing. I didn't know what to say to her. So you aren't running away from me. You're running away from a 10-year-old. I'm afraid this is all a little much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance might go a long way, perhaps, Inspector. Eh? Um, don't, don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship. I mean, at least you're not dead, are you? I don't think that went very well. Why? Look, I'm in the middle of an investigation here, Sunshine, and I told you not to get under my feet. And we have investigating to do ourselves. Yes. I'd like to hear more of what the socially inept inspector has to say. Shit. Damn, son. Okay. Oh, hurry. So we gotta ask about the investigation and see if we know anything else about Mr. Sholmes' operation. Do you know anything about Hurley? Is the operation finished? Is he alright? Is he? Well, the thing is... Don't mince your words, Inspector. Please. You don't mean to say that Mr. Sholmes is... What? No. The operation's done and dusted. It's just that... Well... Out with it! Yes, ma'am. She's gonna fucking throw Gregson across the room. They use something called a general anesthetic. It's the latest thing. Renders the whole body insensitive. The whole body? Anesthetized? Is that even possible? It means the operation can be completed while the patient is fast asleep. Goodness, in the Empire of Japan, we can just manage to provide laughing gas for tooth extraction. Trouble is, the latest thing isn't always the greatest thing, if you follow my meaning. They couldn't get the medication to work at first, so it took hours for him to nod off, or so I hear. Now that the op's finished, they can't get him to wake up, apparently. They drugged him so fucking hard. No one knows if it's the anesthetic still in his system, or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. Anyways, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes around again. Early. The moment he opens his eyes, your ladyship, I swear I shall give word to you. What a surprise. Even in matters of life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way. What do you make of the crime scene here? You got eyes, haven't you? Use them. It is what it looks like. Nothing more, nothing less. Iris, could you lend me a hand? So, Gregsy, what do you make of the crime scene here? Oh yes, your ladyship, do allow me to humbly explain. Last night, shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard police attended to the scene. The one and only door to this room was found locked from the inside. So it was locked from the inside. Appears to be broken now, though. Is that the police officer's doing? Quite right, ma'am, quite right. He took the liberty of smashing the door in, as humbly as possible. As you can see, the victim was discovered prostrate on the floor, thuswise. Next to the aforementioned body, we discovered the vile gutter child. Are you talking about Ginny? She's my friend, you know, Inspector. Miss Lestrade, the hapless girl, was curled up on the floor, dead to the world. She's still alive, you know. Yes, when I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious. I'm afraid to say she had the gun that was used in her hand. Presumably it's the gun that's still down there on the floor now. In her pocket, we found the key to the door as well. The key to the storeroom? And you say the storeroom had been locked from the inside? All of which leaves her ladyship's friend in something of a sticky situation, I'm afraid. Obviously, my personal opinion is that it's all some sort of misunderstanding. Of course it is, Inspector. Of course it is. Alright, let's take a look around. Could this have been a robbery? All the articles in the storeroom. This is the only thing that shows any signs of being ransacked. What is it, Iris? That's the box file my manuscript was being kept in. Iris's unpublished story, The Hound of Baskervilles. Surely that's not what all this... Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. You must check inside the box at once. Yes. Ah. It was there. Iris' story was there. Really? It was? Well, that's good news, isn't it? Yes. I mean, of course I believed Hurley when I said he deposited there, but still. It's a relief to actually see it. Really? Because that's not a very well-hidden frown. Damn. Hounds of the Baskervilles. How did Susanoo-san know the exact title of this unpublished story? Suppose I'll just have to wait until she's ready to explain it to me. I'm so sorry. Nothing too sus about it. Look at all these articles that have been deposited. This room is stuffed full of them. Can't believe how many there are. Bicycle, a gramophone, musical instruments, even some enormous paintings. Look. Pieces of different people's lives, quietly gathering dust in here together. Something very peaceful about the atmosphere in here. Or at least there would be if not for the chalk outline on the floor and the policemen shuffling around. Not much I can do about that, Sunshine. This is a revolver, a real one, and quite possibly the murder weapon used to take Mr. Windibank's life. What's the matter? You and Runo look like you're about to faint. Oh, it's just that I've rarely seen a gun in the flesh, and I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Windibank with this yesterday, didn't we? I wonder if he actually just killed himself. Must be the same gun. And last night, when I looked through the spy hole, that was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand. Oh yeah, at the slightest inconvenience, he threatened to kill himself. Told us he only ever had a single bullet loaded in his revolver. Well, it's empty now. The one and only bullet he had in his gun has been fired. So you can be fairly certain that only a single shot was fired from this gun. The police have marked the location of the body with a chalk line. And that way we know where it was. Poor Mr. Windibank. He was a nice old man. Okay, 48. I guess you can consider that old man, especially if you're 10. Well, he was shot just once through the heart. Most likely, the fellow died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing. This must be his blood, then. Ah! Don't like to get such a wretched time, Iris, but I wonder if perhaps... Don't worry, Susie. I'm ready for action. Blue. It doesn't match our analysis of the blood stain we found in the main shop. No, but let's add this sample to the others we've already collected. I wonder if we can also get Sholmes' blood. I doubt it'd be helpful for anything, but... Iris? Don't worry, I'm alright. But we must find the true culprit. Absolutely. Alright, I think that might be all back here. Come blood. Let's see, is there anything? Can we go back out and talk to Iris about this? Oh, my manuscript. Mr. Sholmes said he deposited it at Windibanks, and he had. But it's so strange. What is it about this particular story? I worked so hard on it. Why would Hurley say I can't publish it? I'm afraid I have no idea. All you can do is wait until he's ready to tell you, I suppose. Oh, maybe it's because Hurley isn't in it enough. Maybe I didn't give him enough good lines. Yes, maybe. I wish I could say that definitely isn't the reason, but I can't. To identify differences in people's blood like this is amazing. You really are a genius. I know. I am. If Hurley and I put our minds to it, we could really shake up Britain's chemists and alchemists. It just fucking dawned on me that alchemist is just chemist with L in front of it. Alchemy is just chemistry. God damn. I'm stupid. Let's see. Okay. Mind sharing that then? Okay. I'm wondering if we could go check on Sholmes now. No? Her boy isn't home. Okay, I'm assuming there's something we missed in the main shop then. Shelves are where the pawnbroker puts articles that have been forfeited on display. Who would buy this horse statue? Well, sometimes you can find some real treasures amongst the junk, you know. Are you alright, Runa? Oh, it's just, well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole, but when you pick out individual things, can't help but wishing you owned them. Even that horse statue. That's exactly how the pawnbroker works. They're very clever. Strange contraption lets you see pictures of things as if they're right in front of your eyes. Makes you think when Mr. Sholmes gleefully showed it to us yesterday, we're blissfully unaware that any of this was about to happen. Police are scouring every inch of this place by the look of it. Instructions in the yard are to examine every article in the shop and every ledger and book of accounts. Everyone? That's a ridiculous amount of work, surely. We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're sifting through it on all shifts at least, but still, we'll be working through the night, that's for sure. Even then, we'll barely have scratched the surface. It's every copper's worst nightmare, you know. A crime in a pawnbroker's. There's a major clue just here. Really? Then we must tell Gregsy at once. But as soon as I report it, that'll be it. I'll be stuck here even longer. Stuck here? What do you mean? I haven't been home in 2 days already. I need another constable to relieve me and take over me shift. Short gremlin. Should be fun. That doesn't stop us from investigating though, does it? No, I suppose not. Fairly sure it was the calendar he was peering at, yeah. Which we already looked at. Still a Scotland Yard carriage. Never imagined we'd be investigating a case so close to home. I was there. I should have done more. None of this is your fault, Renault, so please, don't apologize. But it's the criminals who are to blame for all this. So let's investigate and work out how to catch them. There's no sign of anything on the... If you let your concentration slip, you might miss what people say. Do you have anything else to add? Is that what I think it is? Your ladyship's latest? Yes, my latest story. It's called The Hound of the Baskervilles. A most fascinating title, your ladyship. Fascinating. And, I don't suppose... Would there be any mention of my humble self in the tale this time? Good question. I can't really remember. I see. Well, why would you? I'll just await its publication with eager anticipation. You needn't worry. I'm sure if you do appear, you won't be doing anything particularly remarkable. You looking to be arrested, Sunshine? I didn't mean it like that. Even if I did, you wouldn't have bitten her ladyship's head off, would you? Okay. I can't think of anything that haven't highlighted. We got the blood, the outline, the gun. Suppose let's go back to the pawnbroker. Or the main room. Wait, I have to investigate that again? Just seems wrong somehow. Oh, there were all sorts of different colors. There are pretty pinks and purples too, you know. Like I said. Everyone's blood is different. I wonder what color my blood would turn out. Actually, I don't want to know. Fairly sure this contraption was here yesterday as well. Here we are, though I'm not confident I can get it closed again. Oh yes, that's a folding stereoscope. We've been over this. It's for use in public houses and places like that. It contains a carousel with all sorts of pictures. This little thing is a much simpler design for use at home. There's special shops selling prints you can use in them. I have a little collection myself. I wonder if I can make money out of these in Japan. I'd be keeping my toilet sparkling clean anyways. I don't think there's anything else in here. Okay. The only place we haven't checked as well is the prison. Gina doesn't appear to be here. I believe she must be in questioning at the moment. Oh, but wait a minute. What is it? Well, if you examine the scene here carefully, there's another possibility, isn't there? Ginny could have slipped the key from the jailer when he wasn't looking and escaped. Oh my. Why would she do something like that? It would only make her situation worse. Calm down. I was only joking. Oh. You had me worried there. Thought it was a great deduction. Yes, it must be your way with words. You're so wonderfully persuasive. Perhaps you don't fully understand the weight of your words carry. Oh dear. I'm sorry. I suppose a light-hearted great detective is a contradiction in terms. Well, in the same situation, I'm sure Mr. Sholmes would have thrown his head back and guffawed. Not entirely sure that's helpful. Well, anyway, looks like we won't be able to talk to Gina for a while. Should try to make progress with our investigation in the meantime. I thought I did. Unless I can do more investigating on... No. There's nothing in between the pages. I'm trying to think if there's any other... Is it time to just start showing things? Nope. Shot, 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 chug, chug, chug. What do you make of this? Ah, what have we here then? A redemption ticket for an article deposited here, is it? It's like someone ran out of office stationery and wrote the ticket on whatever paper was to hand. This is the ticket for McGilded's overcoat, the one the little diver turned up with yesterday. Actually, no, it's not. Really? Think you know better than me, do you? No, I didn't mean to... Bruno's right, Gregsy. It isn't the same ticket. Of course it isn't. Of course it isn't. I never doubted you, your ladyship. So what's all this about, then, if I might be so bold as to ask? This is a second ticket. Seems that Mr. McGilded, in fact, had another article in storage here at Windibanks. Is that right? I think we need to discuss this further with the inspector. Okay. It's in the pockets of Mr. McGilded's overcoat. You mean to tell me? Yes, there was more than just the music box disc, it seems. Should have insisted on the lads taking it back to the yard and examining it properly. Well, according to the details on this ticket, Mr. McGilded deposited another article here with Mr. Windibank. Yes, I can see it written here. A small box, was it? What's in the box? Do you have any idea where it is, Gregsy? Any at all? It's another article belonging to Mr. McGilded. Could be an important clue. Well, yeah, I suppose it could be. Please stop looking at me with those big turquoise eyes all full of hope and expectation. It's too much pressure. I'll lose me marbles, I will. I'll go barking. This is no time for dog impressions, Inspector. It's enough sauce from you, sunshine. There is one thing that springs to mind. According to this ticket, the redemption deadline's already passed, hasn't it? Oh yes, of course. Articles are only held for 2 months. So the small box will no longer be in here, then. That's right. It's been forfeited. Which means it could be on the shelves in the front of the shop. You're wasting your time. There are dozens of little boxes out there. Hundreds, even. You can't possibly know which one might have been McGilded's. That information's not written in the ledger. Well, I think we should at least have a look, just in case. Of course, your ladyship. Of course. Very sensible of you, I'm sure. This is getting old. Well, he jumped out of my skin there. How can Mr. Windibank set up such a winded trap? No, I doubt he set out to scare anyone. Just that's what happens when you have upwards of 10 clocks. Is that really the time? I think perhaps we should pay Gina another visit soon. Her trial is tomorrow. We must establish whether or not you will be defending her. I think we should ask her one more time. She may have changed her mind. Don't you remember, Runo? You told her she could rip up the representation papers if she didn't want you to be her lawyer. Really? Did I say that? Yes, you did. Deadline for submitting the paperwork is fast approaching. In that case, we'd better hurry back to the prison and talk to Gina again. But can't we inspect the boxes? Let's see. This is where all the items that have been forfeited by their original owners are offered. That's right. They've all got little price labels on them. There's so many. Wonder if the small box this ticket was for is still on the shelf somewhere. Even if it were, finding it promises to be very troublesome indeed. There are so many boxes. It could be any one of them. Mr. Schaum said a pawnbroker's was the safest place to store anything. More secure than a bank's vault. So perhaps this small box of Mr. McGilded's contains something of great value. Well, if that's the case, he'd probably have kept it locked. So then we need to find every box with a lock and break them all open. Aye, not in the expensive store. That sort of misconduct would get you arrested. I won't let that happen. This takes me back. It's been some time since Susada-san last threw me. Okay, we're giving up on the box. It's time to go to prison. Ah, Gina. Good. You're back. Ah. The police must have finished questioning her then. Oh, how was it? Was it awful? Oh, didn't bother me. Thank you for the papers you signed before. It meant we were able to investigate at Windibanks. Oh, right. Don't you want to know how we got on? We've been ever so busy. What's the point in asking? Won't change what everyone's saying. That I did it. That's not... Gina, we came to ask for your final decision. Yeah? What decision? About tomorrow's trial. Will you let me defend you or not? I must submit the paperwork now if you'd like Mr. Naruhodo to represent you. Right. I see. She's really lost her fight all of a sudden. I know what that feels like. Where he's just too hard to bear. Oh, all right then. Blimey, give it a rest with my eyes, Iris. So come on then, fill us in. Who done it? Fortunately, we don't know that yet. You don't say. You don't know yet, Gina. But Mr. Naruhodo, and all of us, know that you are innocent of this crime. And while we haven't yet managed to work out who the real culprit is, there are a number of interesting facts we have managed to establish. Oh yeah? Like what? Well, for example, the reason for you being there in the first place. I think I know why you broke into Windibanks that night. Looks like I'm gonna have to take some evidence that clearly reveals the reason. And thrust it in her face. Or I could present it to her calmly, I suppose. Found this in Mr. Windibank's storeroom. A manuscript of Iris's latest story. Oh, right. Well, that's good then. Curiously, the storeroom at Windibanks showed no sign of being ransacked for items of value or the like. With one exception. The box file that housed this manuscript. It was you, wasn't it, who broke open the box containing this manuscript last night? You were determined to find out whether or not the Hound of Baskervilles was really there. That's the real reason you broke into the storeroom last night, isn't it? Why don't you tell us what happened? Please. Alright, yeah. This Baskerville story. It's the latest Schaum's adventure, right? But it ain't been printed yet. So I figured it's got to be worth a fair few pieces of silver, right? Oh yes, at least 5,000 pounds. What? Wait. Susato, how do you know that? So you intended to sell Iris's manuscript, did you? No. Ginny, how could you? What? Wait, no, hang on. Because I weren't gonna sell it. All I wanted to do was find out if the mantle script, or whatever you call it, was really there or not. It's the only reason I was in the place. For Iris's sake. Isn't that right? We knew why you'd done it from the start, Gina. Of course we did. But I knew you wouldn't do anything mean like that, Ginny. I just knew it. Well, when I saw the manuscript in the storeroom, it reminded me of what you said the night before. Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Bare-faced liars, the lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling you, that mantle script ain't at Windibank's. You'd soon see if you had a look. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. I mean that sometimes I wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Oh, Ginny, that was so sweet of you. Alright. I'll tell you why I did it. Just stop looking at me like that, Iris. Iris is like the master key to getting into people's hearts. It weren't because of Iris. That's not why I did it. I just wanted to know the truth. That's all. You wanted to know if Mr. Sholmes was being honest? If he really deposited the manuscript? It's like I told you the night before. Never had a father. But Iris's lot ain't like mine. She's got her dad, only she can't see him. And I reckon that's gotta be harder. That's why she writes her stories. They're about her dad, really. That's what it sounded like to me anyway. Last night when I was listening to what you were saying. Stories about Daddy? I mean, they're not the adventures of a great detective. So much as the adventures of a great detective and his trusty partner. Well, that's how I see it, yeah. You're so thoughtful and so kind, Ginny. We never thought any differently, did we? Look, just give it a rest, will ya? I hate all this chummy nonsense. Do you hear? I hate it. I don't trust no one, right? That's how I work. Because if you don't trust no one can let you down. So leave me alone. Go on, Scarper. I hadn't noticed until now, but it's unmistakable. Right there on both sleeves of her overcoat. There's some very suspicious red stains. I mean, those are more brown. What? Why are you looking at me like that? Think it'd be worth presenting some of our other findings. Her sword hand aches. Hey, do you mind if we just, like, spray your hands down with chemicals? Those stains on the sleeves of your new coat. They're blood, aren't they? Not that I know whose blood yet. What? Blood? You don't appear to have any obvious wounds yourself, though. So it could be that blood splattered from Mr. Windibank when he was shot last night? Let's not beat around the bush here. This trusty friend of mine will get results much faster than anything else. Yeah, take it easy, Iris. Purple. Wait. Windibank was blue. What the? Forget the sleeves. The whole coat is covered in blood. Of course. The black color of the fabric was masking the stains. That's why we haven't seen them until now. No, that's not a new. We've had purple before. That's Mr. Mason. Which matches one of the samples we've collected perfectly. Yes, now let's see. We had the purple blood. I knew it. What are you all on about? The victim? What do you mean? It's a rather uncomfortable situation, but I think this makes things quite clear. It means that the omnibus case is finally solved. The truth about who really murdered the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, is revealed. Oi, would someone explain what's going on? Stop telling half a story. See now that the victim's blood is all over McGilded's overcoat. But in the trial 2 months ago, the defendant said this in his testimony. Now I ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fellow bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? Reached out to give the man a hand. But if you look at this overcoat now, it's clear. These stains couldn't have arisen from him trying to help pull the victim to his feet. No, if that's what had really happened, the blood wouldn't have splashed all over the front of the coat. The only explanation for this pattern of blood is that it splattered over Mr. McGilded's coat when he stabbed the victim in the stomach. I tried to run from the truth for long enough, but there's no escaping it now. True culprit in that case, Mr. Mason's killer, Magnus McGilded. That horrible case is solved at last, and I helped the man walk free from that trial. I used all that twisted testimony and all that sham evidence to prove his innocence. How could I have let that happen? Bruno, did you believe him, though? Did you believe Mr. McGilded was innocent? I believed, or rather, I think I was trying to believe. I wanted to. Because believing in those you represent in the court is a defense lawyer's greatest weapon. A weapon? Before we came to the Great Britain, a great friend of mine taught me a valuable lesson. Kazuma-sama? We lawyers are only human. We can't know for sure what is the truth and what is a lie, which is why we must resort to our primary weapon, an unwavering belief in our clients. That's all we really have. Unwavering belief? Only when we truly believe what our clients tell us can we fight with everything we have for their cause. In any battle, there can be no victor without faith. So I believe you, unwaveringly. What's funny? Core. Sounds like in this Empire of Japan you come from, everyone must be soft. Well, come on. Look at the mess it's gotten you into, believing that bog trotter. Yes, I inadvertently helped the murderer walk free. Well, at least you've learned your lesson now, eh? Believing in people's never worth it. Someone always stabs you in the back in the end. As soon as you let down your guard, you've had it. Take a leaf out of my book. Believe no one, get hurt by no one. Gina, may I ask you something? What? I'd just like to make absolutely sure. What would you like us to do with these representation papers for tomorrow's trial? How many times do I have to say it? Rip them up and chuck them away. Are you really sure that's what you want? I bet that's what he wants and all now. Mr. I'ma believe a lawyer over there. Don't forget it was me in that trial 2 months ago. I led everyone up the garden path, didn't I? And you're telling me you can believe in me after all that? Not likely. A lawyer's primary weapon is an unwavering belief in his clients. Ultimately, it comes down to whether or not I feel I can trust Gina after everything that's happened. Gina, let me say it again. Please allow me to represent you in tomorrow's trial. Are you half-baked? Not at all. You've not once admitted to committing the crime, have you? What's more, I believe that you're telling me the truth. Seriously, Mr. Naruto? Didn't you hear all what I said before? I'm a born liar. Fibs just trip off my tongue. And I'm a diver, don't forget. I pulled the wool over your eyes 2 months ago and got you in all sorts of trouble. Why would you ever trust me now? I just don't get it. Gina, I do understand why you choose not to put your trust in others. But I assure you, there is more to this life than you yet realize. What do you mean? The world we live in is full of people you would do very well to trust. People who won't ever let you down. It's true that I'm just a student of law, and I'm certainly lacking in courtroom experience. But I can promise you this. Whatever happens, and until my very last breath, I am completely on your side. What do you expect me to say to that? Now it's decided. I'll take these papers now and carry out the necessary preparations for tomorrow's trial. It would be a shame to throw them away now after it's been penned with your name so beautifully. Do what you like. You Easterner lot are... I don't know what you are. I don't get you. Gina's taken herself off to the back of her cell. She'd never admit it, but I hope she's feeling relieved. I turned out alright in the end, I think. Whoever's hiding there, show yourself at once. Eavesdropping is the height of cowardice. Miss Susato? Someone is there in the shadows. I can sense it. Someone who wasn't there before. Blimey, you're sharp, eh? Gregson. Suppose you were using one of those mystic Japanese arts. Like the art of stealth I've heard so much about. If anyone was being stealthy, it was you, Inspector. Gregsy. Oh dear me, I'm most terribly sorry, ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you. How long have you been listening in on our conversation? Good grief, listening in? No. I just got word there were some visitors who were refusing to leave even though it was after hours. I assure you, ladyship, I only just arrived, this very minute, not a moment earlier. That's all it is, nothing untoward, nothing at all. After hours? Is that late already? So then, I'll humbly excuse myself now, your ladyship. Ta-ta, toodaloo, cheerio, all the best, bye and bye. That's a lot of farewells, and not one of them appropriate for her ladyship. Oh, but I wanted to have a chat. I'm terribly sorry, but time is pressing at the minute. Oh, I see. That's a shame. If you don't get this emergency at the Supreme Court dealt with sharpish, Lord Strongheart will, well, emergency? Lord Strongheart? Nothing. Forget I said anything. Anyways, I'm off. Alright, Gregsy, if you have to, but let's chat soon. Delighted, charmed, can't wait, if you please, my pleasure. It's a lot of pleasantries, and not one of them sounded sincere. Gregsy's so funny. He says such silly things. It's certainly entertaining to see Inspector of the Police fawning over to a 10-year-old girl. Anyway, I wonder what this emergency is at the Supreme Court. Must attend to the court clerk's office now before it closes. No one's allowed to know that someone took a dump in the judge's stand. We can't find out who. The judge is being very quiet about this, but we can't accuse him. Yes, of course. Thank you, Miss Susato. Kindly escort Iris home now, Mr. Naruto. I shall meet you there later. And so, our investigation came to an end. Susato-san went to file the necessary papers for my defense of Gina the following day. And then it hit me. I could no longer suppress the wretched feeling that had been gnawing away at my insides. Tomorrow, Susato-san would be leaving, leaving Britain and making her way back to Japan. Naruto-san, it's been a very trying day, hasn't it? I do hope you're not too exhausted. What about you? Today's been even more trying for you, I'm sure. Mr. Sholmes was shot before our eyes, Gina was arrested, all in the back of the news that her father has fallen ill and that she must return to Japan at once. I hope your father recovers soon. Thank you for your kind words. I wonder why it is that so many thoughts rage in my head like a storm, and yet I seem unable to find the words to express any of them. I know exactly what you mean. Anyways, I have one final task to complete as your judicial assistant. Once that is done, I shall make preparations for my departure tomorrow. Taking off the sweatshirt, taking off the sweatshirt, taking off the sweatshirt, taking off the sweatshirt. Oh. It's just 2 months since we arrived in London. We've managed to establish this office. It's finally feeling as though we were settling in. I would be lying if I said I felt no regret. I'm so sorry, Susato-san. It was just so sudden. I really don't know what to think. I've had no time to gather my thoughts. I know we've only been here a short time, but in my limited experience of the courtroom, I feel I've learned something. I sure hope so. And what would that be? It seems to me there are many facets to people's personalities. And like a jewel, the light plays off them in complex patterns, illuminating their actions and their motives. But we see only a small number of the total facets, and what is illuminated is only a part of the whole story. What lies in the shadows? What do those facets we cannot see look like? Perhaps there's some parts we'll never lay eyes on, for as long as we live. That's true. Sometimes I feel as though I'm blind to so much, but I keep hoping that one day it'll all become clear. And all the facets will be illuminated, and I'll finally understand how everything fits together. Naruto-san. Suppose what matters is that we keep our eyes open, and keep moving forward, even if the way sometimes seems dark. It's amazing to think it's just been 2 months. You've grown so much. Sorry? I've what? Oh no, it was nothing. Unimportant. Do you know what time you'll leave in the morning? Yes. Picked up my ticket earlier. She'll be leaving here at 4 a.m. I'll escort you to the station. Absolutely not. Sorry. I'm sure you realize why I couldn't possibly let you do that. You have a very important day ahead of you tomorrow. Yes, I know, but every word you utter will have the potential to determine Gina's fate. You must get as much rest as possible, even though, like me, I'm sure you'll find it hard to sleep. But please, for me, do try. And what's that last task you were talking about? I nearly forgot. Please, I want you to have this. What is it? Somehow, a huge bundle of documents. It's my notes from the case 2 months ago. The murder that was committed on the omnibus. It seems to me that this case of Mr. Windibank's murder, of which Gina is accused, is very much tied up with that omnibus case, in ways that are not yet completely apparent. So I took the liberty of consolidating my writings about the case for you. With everything else she's had to think about, Susato-san still managed to do this, all neatly laid out for me in her beautiful handwriting. It was my pleasure. I can only hope that it will bolster your case tomorrow for Gina. Thank you so much, Susato-san. I'll do my best to use it wisely. You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, it's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Sorry? I didn't quite catch what you said there. Oh, ignore me. I was just mumbling to myself. Well, it's getting rather late. I think you should go to bed now, Mr. Naruto-san. She's got pretty high up there. I must finish packing up my things in my room. Susato-san, I wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. Good night. Wait, there's something I need to say. Ay, caramba! What? What was that? A secret technique of mine. Susato shutdown. Shut down? Please, I implore you. If we have to voice our goodbyes, I won't be able to hold back my tears. Susato-san. It truly had been a trying day. On our feet for hours, getting Gina to open up to us, and learning the truth about that nemesis of a case. Physically and mentally, I was exhausted, yet the idea of sleep seemed impossible, but I forced myself to close my eyes, and as a cacophony of scenes of our lives here in London played through my mind, eventually, my fatigue triumphed, and I fell into a deep sleep. "17th of April, the small hours. These are the hours in which everyone is really, really tiny, but we're usually asleep so we don't see it. Yes, I quite understand. That is a great weight off my mind. Rest assured, I shall put everything in place, exactly as we have discussed. Thank you so much. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be acquainted with you, Mr. Sholmes." On the contrary, the pleasure has been mine. I bid you farewell, and Godspeed. My dear madame. I do like to think that she showed up, Sholmes was still asleep, and she's like, wake up. Wake up. Wake up. It's really important. Please wake up. She just whispers in his ear, Iris set the house on fire, and he's just like, she what? When I woke the following morning, Susato-san was already gone. Outside the window, the rain came down in sheets, and so began an even longer day than the last. This is the final case. However, I don't want anyone to confirm it for me, but I'm 99% sure that there's going to be a fucking Rise from Ashes case after this. I'm just going to be like, hey, hold on, there's another one. Bitch. The game's gonna call me a bitch. Good morning, Gina. I'm determined to prove your innocence today. I'm sure we can do it. Have the cases all been single-day cases? So where's your friend, then? Sorry? You know, or in the fancy dress. Susato, or however you say it. I don't know. Miss Susato had to leave early this morning. She was already gone by the time I woke up. You alright with that, are you? Forget about me if you like. Go see her off. It's fine. It's not as though Miss Susato and I won't meet again one day. Even so, but you, Gina, you only get one chance. This trial today is all we have. Good morning, you two. Why'd you bring the cat? How are you feeling, Ginny? Did you manage to sleep? Iris, what are you doing here? What do you mean? When a friend is in need, we show up our support. Isn't that right, Waggy? See, I was expecting Iris to be the sidekick for this case, but now I really want the cat to be. I mean, I still want Iris, but... Ah, Waggy! Great way to show your support, kitty. Let him have a nose around. What harm can it do? Oh, that reminds me. I brought a paper on the way here. Now, would you like the good news or the bad news? What do you say, Runo? Ginny? Oh, well, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Nah, always take the good news first. You might not live to hear the bad. Yes, that question always gives away people's personalities. Let's not go there. Alright then, I'll give you the bad news first. Record amount of rain has fallen this morning. Carriages all over the capital are struggling to move. Bad news was a weather report? So I hope that Susie made her train over to Dover. The train hasn't been delayed on the way to the port. Gosh, yes. Alright then, so what's the good news? Well, the rain forecast is to subside this afternoon. So even if the train is delayed, it should be able to make up time for later. Well, that's good news, isn't it? I couldn't give a monkey's, really. If only all good news canceled out the bad. And look, this trial made the headlines, too. Pawnbroker perishes in pick purse plunder. See? How'd you like that? Well, let them say what they want. See if I care. I can't, because you're covering your face. Don't worry, Reno will soon show everyone that this headline is nonsense. I will. And then, in tomorrow's papers, the headlines will be... Discharged diver is dauntless do-gooder. Isn't that right, Bruno? Oh, yes. Let's hope so. Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you. How was that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work? Did it? It's like she was still here. Good luck then, Runo. I'll do what I can. Obviously, I don't know the law like Susie does, but still, I'll be by your side the whole time, giving you moral support and encouragement. In this gun I made. I'm not sure that big thing is as comforting as you think it is, to be honest, but my defending bazooka. My defense bazooka. My self-defense bazooka. Oh yeah, Iris. Yes, Jenny? Well, I was wondering, is all, about Sholmes. Did they fix him up all right? Yes, the operation was a great success, but Hurley still hasn't come around yet. Eh? I asked a friend of mine over at Scotland Yard to send a telegram as soon as he wakes up. I'm sure Gregson will let us know the moment there's news. Oh, right. No Susato-san, no Mr. Sholmes. It's all down to me today to prove that Gina is innocent of this crime. Trial's about to begin. Please make your way into the courtroom. It's time then. Let's go, Gina. Iris. Walk into the fucking chambers. Von Sykes is like, why do you have that child? She's trying to put on a brave face, but I can tell she's worried and scared. I have to believe in her from start to finish. That's the weapon that will secure our victory here. If I learned anything from my great friend, it's that. Oh shit, that's Mr. Garadeb. We don't know what the big thing that happened with the Supreme Court. Shall determine the guilt or innocence of Miss Gina Lestrade. Now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready. Lord Van Sykes, my lord, remind me, how many years ago was it that you withdrew from the public prosecution service? It was some 5 years ago, my lord. Yes, and then 2 months ago you resurfaced someone unexpectedly. Here you are again today. There's some circumstances of which the court should be aware of that have led to this erratic behavior. In what one might describe as your former life 5 years past, you dealt exclusively in matters concerned with the highest echelons of society and government. Yet today you choose to try a simple case of burglary and murder. I confess, I find it more than a little befuddling, counsel. There are two types of person I cannot abide. Firstly, those wealthy scoundrels who hide behind a mask of philanthropy to cheat the public at large. He means Mr. McGilded, who you defended against the Reaper 2 months ago. Yeah, I just about managed to work that out. Thank you. I do like that the camera even has to be down lower for her. If I'd known what a monster he was, I never would have defended him. And secondly, even more loathsome, those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies, only to effect total betrayal in the final hour. In other words, the confidence tricksters from those tiny islands in the Far East, the Nipponese. What? Did you really just... I hate the Japanese is a statement held by a prosecutor. He means you now, Runo. I actually managed to work that out too. Thank you, Iris. Total betrayal? What are you talking about? A torrid look of hatred in Lord Van Zyke's eyes. Was that directed solely at me, or was he talking about all Japanese people? An alarmingly scathing explanation, Lord Van Zykes. Still, the judiciary welcomes the return of the so-called Reaper of the Bailey, feared by all of London's malefactors. Your lordship is too kind. Now, jurors, 6 of you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Wait a minute, isn't that the Russian revolutionary? So we got Mr. Garadeb, the maid from last time, or no, the first time, I think. This is the same old man, or he's now a doctor, or this is just a random doctor. I believe this was the lady with the typewriter before, and this is the Russian revolutionary from the second case. Former lieutenant in the British Army here, don't you know? Chaps like me were born ready. Clean crockery, clean cutlery, and clean conscience.